Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tim Hay, and I'm the Cooperative Development Coordinator with Nashville Valley Point, and I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar presentation to introduce a new portfolio for Nashville Valley Point. It's temporary employment services. This portfolio was led by the state of New Mexico with Anna Silva as the lead, and in just a few minutes, she will walk you through this brand new portfolio for us. And also, several sourcing team members participated in this effort as well, which Anna will introduce in just a moment. If you have any questions regarding this PowerPoint or these presentations, you can contact either myself or Anna Silva, and our contact information is provided at the end of this presentation. With that, I'd like to introduce our lead for this portfolio. Her name is Anna Silva, and Anna, take it away.
Thank you, Tim. Again, my name is Anna Silva, and I am the Strategic Sourcing Bureau Chief for the state of New Mexico and the lead for this Nashville Value Point Temporary Employment Services Cooperative. The sourcing team members for the Temporary Employment Services are Darren Hogarth from Oklahoma, Annette Morfin from Nevada, Dion Curley from Oregon, me, Anna Silva, and our Nashville Value Point coordinator is Tim Hay. The purpose of the request for a proposal is to establish master agreements with qualified offers to provide temporary employment services as defined within the scope of this RFP for all participating states. Offers must have the capability to provide temporary employment services to all participating states throughout the United States, including Alaska, Hawaii, and the District of Columbia. No individual states were awarded. Some benefits of the agreements, sorry about that. This procurement was awarded to multiple vendors to provide services nationally for purchasing entities from state agencies to local public bodies and municipalities. These agreements were obtained through the best value process and achieve more favorable pricing than are obtainable by an individual state or local government entity. These agreements leverage collective volume of potential purchases by numerous states and local government entities. There are 5 components that make up the scope of the services for the Temporary Employment Service Awards. Administrative support, which include office clerical and sales, commercial industrial workers, such as construction workers or laborers, healthcare staffing services, that's pretty self-explanatory. Some examples are nurses and doctors, information technology professional services. Some examples are database administrator, a network administrator, or an application developer. And some examples of professional services are architect, engineer, or attorney. A little bit about the RFP process. The RFP was issued on April 27th, and there were 2 amendments. The first was to change the pre-proposal conference from the mandatory attendance to non-mandatory, and the second amendment was to change the due date from June 3rd to June 10th, as well as a few other minor changes. However, the rest of the sequence of events remained the same. There were 18 proposals that were received, and all proposers were responsive. In the next few slides, we'll go over the evaluation of proposals by the sourcing team, how the proposals were ranked, and how the proposers were awarded by category. The maximum number of points available for award for each proposal was based on a 1,000-point scale. Once the RFP closed, the procurement manager verified each of the proposals submitted complied with the mandatory requirements before submitting the proposals to the evaluation committee for review. The evaluation committee met and ranked each proposal based upon the total points awarded. A higher score means that the proposal offers a best value relative to proposals with lower scores. The evaluation committee determined the percentage of the total points available for award by evaluating each proposal against the evaluation criteria. In order to achieve maximum points, the proposal overall had to have been outstanding and would have exceeded the minimum requirements in several respects. The evaluation committee would not have identified any limitations or concerns. If the proposal overall was above average, it would have exceeded the minimum requirements in some respects. The evaluation committee might have identified only minor limitations or concerns, and points were deducted accordingly. If the proposal overall was acceptable and met the minimum requirements, the evaluation committee might have identified some significant limitations or concerns and then deducted points based on each evaluator's determination based on the criteria. If the proposal overall was marginal to fair, the proposal might have met the minimum requirements. However, the evaluation committee identified a number of significant limitations or concerns, and the points deducted would reflect this. If the proposal overall was inadequate, then that meant that the proposal did not meet a substantial or a portion of the minimum requirements. Therefore, the evaluation committee would have deducted significant points. Here is a breakdown of the evaluation results. There were 7 awarded master agreements, and all 7 were national awardees. There were no regional awardees, and the term of the contract was from February 1st, 2017 to February 1st, 2019, with 3 additional one-year terms. This chart describes the proposer and each category they were awarded. For example, 22nd Century was awarded all 5 categories, whereas the United Solutions Group was only awarded 1, IT professional services. A little bit about each of the vendors. 22nd Century has a 10-step process for recruiting and identifying within their organization. They identify which person is responsible for and will oversee which geographical areas. ATA Services has a national project manager who will be responsible for coordinating all communication with the states on a national level and who will be interacting with regional and local representatives. Dataman USA utilizes a recruitment management system to follow up with clients and temporary employees. Diversified Services Network has a pool of candidates that comes initially from local talent. Then after the local talent has been exhausted, they expand out. Rose International has a systematic methodology for understanding the needs of customers. They affirm that the information from the state helps during the multi-step screening and ends at the candidate's exit interview. Staff Today has a 9-step pre-employment screening for new candidates. They complete an evaluation of a matched candidate to the job requirements. If the candidate does not meet all requirements of the request, the process is repeated. The United Solutions Group conducts a phone screening for initial contact, tests candidate skills using a third-party software, conducts technical interviews with the offerer's subject matter experts, confirms validity of candidates' experience, and monitors progress through customer feedback and weekly progress reports. Here we have a snapshot of all awardees and their contact information for ordering, identified by the contract number, the contractor, the contact name and email, their address, and their phone number. Here we identify each awardee by their name, their logo, and their master agreement. Included in the master agreement is their pricing. So how do you get started? It's very easy. All you need to do now is select the vendor or vendors and sign a participating addendum. Here is my contact information if you have any questions regarding this procurement. So Tim, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Anna. So as Anna mentioned just a moment ago, to participate in these agreements, it's pretty simple. You just sign the participating addendum. And how that works is every state has executed what we call a memorandum of agreement with NASPO. And that memorandum of agreement allows the states to participate in any one of our NASPO Value Point Master Agreement portfolios. We have roughly 60 different portfolios right now. And within the participating addendum process, states can select which contractor or contractors they choose to use. They can include their own state administration fees, include any required unique terms and conditions that's applicable to their state, identify the options for states or their political subdivisions, and also request any in-state specific reporting or other requirements that that state may need. Now, there's three ways to participate through the participating addendum process. Option number one is the one that we hope states will embrace the most, and that's where a state will sign a participating addendum that allows the entire state, including all of its state agencies, and all of the political subdivisions within that state to be able to utilize the agreement. That is actually the cleanest and most effective way for states to execute a participating addendum. Every now and then, though, a state may not be able to utilize the services that are available under this portfolio, but they don't have a problem if political subdivisions would like to use these agreements. So in that case, they would sign a participating addendum that allows just for the political subdivisions to utilize the agreements in their state. State agencies would not be able to participate, but political subdivisions would be able to, and that is our second most favorable option. And then the last option is where a state chooses not to sign a participating addendum for whatever reason they may have. Political subdivisions still have the ability to participate under this portfolio by executing their own state or their own participating addendum. But before they can do that, we first need to check in with the chief procurement official within that state to make sure that they don't have any objections. Now, the reason for this is we recognize that a lot of states do not have any authority over what a political subdivision may do in their state. However, we are a national purchasing cooperative that is owned and operated by NASPO, and our members are comprised of all the states. And we do not want to go in and compete against any in-state cooperatives. So if a state out there has their own statewide agreement for temporary employment services, we certainly understand that our contracts would be a competition to their in-state agreements, and we don't want to compete against that. So that's exactly the reason why we first check in with that state's chief procurement officer to make sure that they don't have any objections to a political entity exercising their own participating addendum. Now, I'm not going to read this verbatim, but it's pretty simple. The participating addendum process is primarily negotiations between the contractor and the participating entity. On the National Value Point website, under each of the contractor's pages, there is a model participating addendum. And we ask that everybody start with that document first and then negotiate from that. The reason for we wanting you to start with that document, and it has the most up-to-date National Value Point terminology within that document. So we ask that you download that document. It's in Word form, and then just negotiate directly with the contractors. Neither myself nor Anna or the state of New Mexico or National Value Point do we get involved in your negotiations. We do not approve your negotiations or the resulting participating addendum. We are here to answer any questions that you may have. If it's a term or condition or something like that, dealing with the master agreement, Anna is your primary point of contact. If it is a National Value Point process question, a participating addendum process question, you can direct those questions to me. Once you have negotiated your participating addendums, then all you need to do is just send in a signed copy of that participating addendum to pa@naspovaluepoint.org. And you can send in a PDF copy of that, and that's just fine. Participation at Opportunity 1 and 2, the steps are exactly the same. It's just direct negotiation between you and the supplier. And then Opportunity number 3, this is where a political subdivision would enter into their own participating addendum. There is that additional check-in step with the state CPO. So if there's a political subdivision out there that's watching this webinar and is interested in executing their own participating addendum, first send in an email to NASPO Value Point and just say we are interested in executing a participating addendum with this particular contractor for temporary employment services. What we'll then do is we will reach out to the chief procurement officer in your state on your behalf to make sure that they don't have any objections. And we will also include you in our correspondence with that CPO so you know what is being said. We'll wait for then the CPO to respond back. And usually they will respond back saying that they do not have any objections. Once we have received that confirmation that the CPO does not object, then the processes are just the same as opportunity 1 and 2. The political subdivision would negotiate directly with the supplier, and once you have those negotiations complete and you have an executed participating addendum with signatures from all applicable parties, you will just send in that participating addendum to the email address pa@naspaValuePoint.org. We have this flow chart on the NASPA Value Point website. It's on all of the different portfolio pages. It's just a lot easier to flow and follow than the wordy document that I just showed you before. There's two flows here. You have the participating states flow, and then you have the other participating entities or political subdivision flow. And this is where you have the CPO check-in process. And then it all culminates to this point right here, which no matter what path you go on, to where you would just negotiate those participating addendums and send it into pa@naspavaluepoint.org. Once it's sent into us, we will then log it and post it in our repository, and then also post the participating addendum up on the NASPA Value Point website. So state versus political subdivision executed PAs. I want to take just a quick moment to talk about this. If a state has already executed a participating addendum that allows for all the political subdivisions within that state to conduct purchases from that executed PA, we ask that political subdivisions or the contractors not execute a separate participating addendum with that political subdivision. We understand that some political subdivisions may need some sort of official documentation to show that they have an agreement in place. We certainly respect that. However, we ask that you not use the participating addendum, nor do we need to see a copy of that executed document. We only want to see copies of the executed participating addendums that were executed between the state and the contractor. The one exception would be if a state has chosen not to execute a participating addendum, and if a political subdivision still wants to utilize the services, then we would ask that you do sign a participating addendum and follow the processes that we just outlined, and then send in that executed participating addendum to pa@naspavaluepoint.org. When you're executing those participating addendums also, we ask that you only send us the completed participating addendums. Do not include us in any correspondence in between as you're trying to negotiate participating addendums. We don't want to make the mistake of posting a participating addendum that is not fully executed yet. So some things to remember. Sample PAs are located on the NASPA Value Point website under each master agreement portfolio and contractor page. The participating addendums are personalized to each of the contractors with the contractor's name and contract number. We will maintain all of the executed participating addendums in our repository and also on naspavaluepoint.org. As more states start executing these agreements, we'll see that wonderful United States map start to fill in with blue, showing that a state or a political entity within that state has executed a participating addendum. As a reminder, the lead state and NASPA Value Point do not get involved with any of the negotiations. We are here to answer any questions you may have, though, and we ask that you only submit the completed and negotiated PAs in a PDF format with signatures from all applicable parties to pa@naspavaluepoint.org. I am the primary point of contact for NASPA Value Point for temporary employment services for this portfolio. So if you have any questions regarding this portfolio or a NASPA Value Point process question, you can certainly direct those questions to me. If it's any sort of contract interpretation questions, terms and conditions, any issues regarding the terminology in the contract or questions, Anna Silva is your primary point of contact. And if you're unsure of who to send the question to, you can reach out to any one of us, and we will get you in contact with the appropriate person. And that also goes with any political subdivisions that want to execute a participating addendum. Go ahead and reach out to me, and I will then forward your request to the appropriate education and outreach coordinator who will reach out to the CPO on your behalf. And with that, I would just like to thank everyone for taking the time today to participate on today's webinar. Special thanks again to Anna Silva and to the sourcing team for their hard work in putting together this portfolio. We thank them for all their hard efforts. And once again, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And with that, I wish everyone a great day.